I'd like to make 4 points to simplify the quite extensive agenda of this meeting. The discourse on science policy issues has been dominated by 2 extremist ideologies: libertarians and the conservative fundamentalists. The former, libertarians, demanding that science operate freely without any social constraints, and the latter holding that the constraints on science are determined by religious evangelical principles. These views have created the new false idols of the mind, the marketplace and faith-based science. That's point number 1. Point number 2, both these ideologies have divided up the spheres of influence. The libertarians have a foothold in the private sector and universities. The fundamentalists have selected government as their sphere of influence. That's why we have a bifurcated ethical system. You can do stem cell work privately, but you can't do it if you get government grants. So there's one system of ethics for government, one for the private sector, with the universities straddling both, since universities get most of their money from government, except in medical biotechnology, where they get most of their money from the pharmaceutical industries. The third point, the traditional sector boundaries are disappearing. It is obvious in banking and finance. It is obvious in the media and entertainment, farms and chemicals. But since 1980, the boundaries between academia and business have slowly eroded, creating a crisis in the integrity of science, most recently manifest in the drug industry studies. A pharmaceutical manufacturer of oncology drugs takes over the management of a cancer treatment center. The chemical industry helps to finance government-sponsored toxicology studies. Strange. All these sectors seem to be merging. The fourth point is that corporate capitalism and the neoconservative fundamentalist agendas have found their rapprochement. The religious right wants to ban certain activities like birth control, teaching about evolution, stem cell research, while the private sector steps in offering a market approach to address these issues and many others. So those are the 4 points, and now I'm just going to illustrate them with some other ideas, so some slides. We are beginning to see the rise of messianic liberalism. Messianic libertarianism, science can do no wrong. And of course, the other polarity, evangelical fundamentalists. Science must conform to God's will. Somewhere between these polarities, the voice of progressives is lost in this cacophony of science policy discourse. The American university is in crisis of public confidence. Universities have become transformed into technology transfer mills. Faculty have become entrepreneurs, setting up their own companies and leveraging university prestige until, like Enron, the house of cards begins to collapse. Witness the Jesse Gelsinger case in the University of Pennsylvania. A young man with a genetic disease agrees to be a subject of a clinical trial that was not designed to help him, but could help others, at least theoretically. A purely humanitarian gesture on the part of 18-year-old Jesse. Tragically, he died in the experiment. Post-mortem, his family learned that the clinical investigator and the university had equity interests in a company poised to make substantial profits from a successful trial, which it wasn't, of course. Too many corporate interests in a clinical trial destroys public confidence. Moreover, the litigation revealed many transgressions in good medical practice. A lot of these stories are discussed in this book, Science and the Private Interest, and many more. There's too many to possibly even begin to report. Human biotechnology has opened up new avenues for creating wealth. In some cases, this is based upon crass hyperbole. In other cases, it builds on human foibles and desires for perfection, however unrealistic, like the slot machine player in Las Vegas who believes he can beat the odds. In the case of biotechnology, the odds are of perfect genomes, longevity, perfect phenotypes. Quote, by complicating life, science creates new opportunities of wrongdoing. That was said by J.B.S. Haldane in the 1930s. This is the picture that we've come to understand about university science these days.